Nation Development Program, Dr. Vera Songwe, Executive Director, UN Economic Commission, Premier Magashule, Premier of the Free State Province of South Africa, my colleagues, ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, young fellow youth, good morning. Good morning. And as long as you are all here in Kigali, I can declare by virtue of the powers bestowed to me by President Kagame, I declare you youth forever. I'm tempted to greet all captains of industry in this room because most of you, if not all of you, have received a signed invitation from my hand. I want to convey my gratitude for the honor you have given us by responding to our invitation this morning. On behalf of President Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to Rwanda and to the first Youth Connekt Africa Summit. Here are who we are. We have a few numbers, a few statistics. We received an overwhelming response to this summit. We got 6,500 participants expressing interest to participate. Unfortunately, the biggest room we have in this city is this one, and we are over capacity. We could only, so far as by this morning, accredit only 2,813. We are not doing well at all on gender. Only 34 are female, 34%. I promise you next year we'll do better. We are coming from 90 countries. We are so honored for that. And close to 2,000 among you have had to fly in from those 90 countries to be here with us this morning. And why are we here? We are united by a great cause. Our shared purpose is to put the youth first. We are connected by a strong passion to bridge the gap between the youth potential and limitless opportunities that Africa provides. And we are ready to persevere until we have delivered the Africa we want and deserve. This is what set us in motion in 2012 when we launched the Youth Connekt Rwanda. We first launched the Youth Connekt Convention as the largest annual youth gathering that brings together top leadership of this country and a big gathering of youth to shape the future of Rwanda. We kicked off Youth Connekt Hangouts as a bi-weekly session to engage the youth, leveraging the digital telepresence network that reaches all districts and universities in our country. In 2013, we launched Youth Connekt Bootcamp and Awards to recognize the top young innovators and entrepreneurs across the country. We also started the Youth Connekt Dialogue to provide a space for the youth to discuss questions of identity, dignity, opportunity, solidarity, and responsibility in the context of a post-genocide generation. This program grew and revived a movement called Ndi Umunyarwanda, meaning I'm Rwandan. And that's a great statement, that the strength of our unity as Rwandans and as indeed Africans is greater than the divisions, whether imposed by borders or foreign languages or our own ethnic affiliations. In 2013, we also launched the Youth Connekt Month to keep students from secondary schools and universities productively engaged during the holidays, because we know that an idle young mind is a devil's workshop. It is with this that we partnered with One UN Rwanda to take into a Pan-African innovation competition organized by the UNDP Regional Office of Africa, and we won the gold prize. Subsequently, we invited 14 Africa countries. These countries expressed interest to come and learn about this model. You can see them on the map. And we spent 3 good days here in Kigali, and subsequently, actually 5 countries have already launched Youth Connekt. Liberia Youth Connekt, Sierra Leone, Congo Brazzaville, DRC, and Uganda have already launched Youth Connekt in those countries. And you are here to support this movement. I have already talked to several of my colleagues, minister from Zambia is saying, I'm next in line to launch Youth Connekt. My colleague Oswald Homke from Benin, he's next to launch Youth Connekt. And several others are here to learn and see how we can all come together as Africans to really exploit this double potential that we have in the youth and technology to drive our continent forward. Next, please. So, what is the problem we are facing, or what is the size of opportunity we are facing? In 2050, there will be 1 billion young Africans, and Africa will boast the largest youth population in the world. So that is a big opportunity, but we know that for that opportunity to become real, we need to invest, and invest now. And as we speak today, there are 226 million young Africans, and we know that Africa needs to produce 18 million jobs annually to be able, for the next 15 years, to be able to fill the job and employment gap. This is a challenge that no government, no single institution, however resourced they are, however smart they are, can meet. So the purpose of Youth Connekt is to bring all of us together to discuss how we can tackle that challenge, but also opportunity. But it's not only about jobs. It's also about engaging the youth in civic matters, in leadership matters, in gender equality matters. It's about finding that opportunity that lives together with the problem and providing a pathway to connect the problem and the opportunity. And we believe that this summit is unique. Next, please. So this summit is unique because at the end of the summit, don't expect resolutions. I think we have made resolutions at every opportunity we've met. I was in Addis, the AU. I support the 69 resolutions that came from the Youth Summit in N'Djamena, so we are not going to add a 70th. We are going to take stock of partners who are ready to work with us to implement those resolutions. We are going to listen to you, those who have programs, initiatives that will contribute to the goals that we have set for the Youth Connekt Africa Hub. And those goals are to contribute to the creation of 10 million new jobs. We want to be able to connect 100 million young people. We want to create 25 million opportunities for self-development, entrepreneurship for youth. We want to reduce gender equality. We want to nurture 1 million young leaders across the continent, and we want to transform Africa into a digital continent. Next. So I want to close by thanking all of you. We have a great lineup of partners that have joined the government of Rwanda. I would start with the UNDP, One UN Family. We've partnered with UNCTAD, and we were joined by a long list of partners. We will have time tonight just for you, our partners, to recognize you for your contribution to this event, but most importantly, to the Pan-African Youth Hub that we want to launch, to be able to connect more countries to the Youth Connekt movement, and to be able to expand access to opportunities for the millions of young Africans. Now, I wish I could speak every language of Africa, but I want to end with a greeting. Je voudrais présenter tous mes respects à tous les participants de l'Afrique centrale et de l'Afrique de l'Ouest. Bienvenue à Kwaba, Mbote. Mr. President Adesina and Tonny Elemmeu, Aku Abo.
Ekabo.
From those coming from the north, Assalamu alaikum. Those from the southern part of Africa, Mulibwanji. I particularly salute the big team from South Africa, Amandla. Wananchi wa Afrika Mashariki, karibu sana. So thank you so much. I look forward to a very productive 2 days. Engage, network, connect, and let's all together deliver the Africa we want and we so badly deserve. Thank you.
Okay, we can give him another thunderous round of applause. Great stuff. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. And it is now time to call upon our keynote speaker, who will come and give us the keynote address. And he's none other than Mr. Abdoulaye Mar Die, who's the Assistant Administrator and Director, Regional Bureau for Africa, UNDP. Let's give him another round of applause as he comes to address us. Keep it coming until he arrives here. Keep it going. More and 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 more. Thank you.
Young people need better glasses. Honorable Minister for Youth and ICT, our host, members of government, excellencies, dear youth delegates and ambassadors of the future, ladies and gentlemen, Mwara Mutse Mwes. I am thrilled to be in the land of the 1,000 hills and the million smiles, and in this spectacular convention center. From the commanding heights of Mount Kigali, and as a preamble to my statement, I want to deliver Urbi and Orbi, a message to the world, especially to the development practitioners and scholars, to the business community, to the tourists who cherish the beauty of nature, to all those people and beyond. I want to say that if you want to see the Africa on the move, come to Rwanda. a country where an anthology of distinguished achievements and prominent realization blossoms. As a development economist and one who has traveled the continent and beyond, I can state unequivocally that Rwanda is a story to tell, an experience to share, and a model for inspiration. Let me now, ladies and gentlemen, invite you all to join me in a journey 100 kilometers northwest of Kigali in a city called Musanze. We will meet Cephas. Cephas is a science teacher and a young entrepreneur with a passion to serve his community. Cephas makes cosmetic products out of traditional plants. He uses his knowledge in science to create products out of traditional plants. He uses his knowledge in science to produce that. In 2013, he applied to the Youth Connekt Bootcamp and was the first place winner and won 3 million Rwandese francs, less than $4,000. He used the winnings from his award to build his factory. Today, he employs 15 full-time staff members. Let's continue our journey and go to Rubavu district, some 50 kilometers west of Musanze. We will meet Assumpta, a 27-year-old young girl. Realizing that farmers in her community were growing a large amount of beetroot without a market ready and willing to support them, Assumpta decided to produce tasty and affordable wine from locally cultivated beetroot. Assumpta won the 2016 Youth Connekt Award, which rewards the best young innovator in Rwanda. With her 5 million Rwandese francs, about $6,000, she expanded her business. Today, she employs 10 permanent workers and provides 30 temporary jobs in her community, mostly women. Assumpta and Cephas are what African Development Bank President Adesina rightly calls the young agripreneurs of Africa. They are graduates of Youth Connekt Rwanda. They epitomize the transformational power of ideas. With their creativity, ingenuity, and acquired skills, they have shown the way to conquer the future. I am proud to see UNDP and UN sister agencies partnering with the government of Rwanda in such a seminal and pioneering initiative as Youth Connekt, a program initiated in 2013 which seeks to empower young entrepreneurs by connecting them with leaders from public and private sectors and civil society. It provides internships, mentorships, training and coaching. It raises awareness of job opportunities. It promotes business incubation centers and financial products and services. Today, some 40,000 young Rwandese have benefited directly or indirectly from the program, either through the boot camps I mentioned or through platforms including Google Hangout sessions, annual youth conventions, and television shows. Many have started or expanded profitable businesses which have generated employment. Our calculation indicates that on average, each participant in the Youth Connekt boot camps have subsequently created 8 to 10 permanent jobs. For some of these businesses, their employees receive daily the equivalent of $6 to $10 US, hence 3 to 5 times the daily GDP per capita in Rwanda. This is impressive. As Timothy, a young Rwandese entrepreneur, eloquently told me, Youth Connect boot camps are a phenomenal journey. You come out of it with a conquering mindset and with the unwavering conviction that, yes, you can. Yes, you can open your own business with such an empowering tool that is Youth Connect. Cephas, Assumpta, and Timothy are no doubt the Tonny Elemmeu, Folorunchu Alakija, and Dangote of tomorrow. The leadership, creativity, and commitment seeds are planted in them. They will blossom. Their stories show that with ideas, innovation, and passion, our youth can realize their dreams and make Africa the El Dorado. It is quite exciting to see that this program covers now the 30 districts of Rwanda and is already being replicated with the support of UNDP in 5 other African countries: Liberia, Congo-Brazzaville, Democratic Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone, and Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, every 24 hours, nearly 33,000 youth across Africa join the search for employment. And sadly, about 60% will be joining the unacceptable army of unemployed. Youth Connect is a practical, concrete, and most effective way to tackle the current unemployment situation in the continent. It empowers the youth to be potent actors and driving vectors in the implementation of Agenda 2030 and of the future we want in Africa. Here, I wish to salute the visionary leadership of His Excellency President Paul Kagame, who believes in cultivating a new generation of innovators and problem solvers to create employment and drive economic transformation. It is that vision that gave birth to Youth Connect Rwanda, and I must applaud the Honorable Minister of Youth, Jean Philbert, who took that vision and unleashed the energy of Rwanda's youth. Thank you, Mr. Minister. It is our deepest commitment, we in UNDP, to respond to the wish of the government of Rwanda and of youth in Africa to scale up to the regional level this groundbreaking and pace-setter program. On behalf of UNDP, I am honored to pledge our continuous and enhanced financial and technical support to the government of Rwanda, not only in the expansion of the program in the country, but also in the establishment of the Greater Youth Connect Africa Regional Initiative, with the setting up of a regional hub here in Kigali, and the design and launching of a Youth Connect Innovation and Empowerment Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, with Youth Connect Africa, we are embarking on the most fascinating journey. And the youth here gathered today are our trip captains. Now let me be their ambassador by emphatically re-echoing what most of them told me. They said, give us the space and we will give you the world. And by space, they mean enhancing economic growth policies that will have an impact on employment and job creation. They mean trust in their creativity. And they mean effective implementation of youth-friendly development policies, including greater access to capital, finance and market, skills development, and the sustained investment in education, in particular in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We are privileged to have with us today African leaders, Adesina, Tonny, Vera, Diane, to lead our conversation on how we can open up that space and create together, as assigned by this conference, 50 million jobs by 2020, 10 million of which could come from Youth Connekt. I am confident that out of this conversation, we will chart a collective way forward with strong commitments to achieve this goal. If we all meet our commitments, our gathering today with more than 7,000 subscribers, that was my count today, this morning, this meeting will not just be another meeting. It will be a movement, a spark from Mount Kigali reverberating all over the continent. I would like to invite us all to join the movement, a movement which I see as a performance contract, or imihigo, as we say here in Rwanda, a contract between us all stakeholders to support our youth in conquering the future. Murakoze cyane, turi kumwe.
Let's give you another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Good. Now, we are moving on very swiftly and in a very nice pace. Thank you so much. We will now move to the next session. But before we go there, I am so happy to hear some really key pronouncements here that there will be we're not here to make new resolutions. I'm happy that we're here to talk about how to implement the already available resolutions and work even strongly to work together to achieve even more. I'm also happy to hear that we need to actually hold each other accountable. I've heard of the word contracts, and contracts are binding documents. So if I wear my other hat of a journalist, I think our work will be also to see if we can, ask the tough questions on the implementations and the commitments we've made, but as we also try to give our contribution as members of the press. The next item that we're going to go for right now is a very exciting session. This is that session we've all been waiting for, to hear from our key panelists on what they think is the way forward in creating the 50 million jobs. One of the panel moderators is here. He's able enough, and I want to hand over to him. He's none other than Yemi Ashae. He's the head of Global Shapers Community, the World Economic Forum. Let me hand over to Yemi. Let's give him a round of applause.
Your Excellency, our host, the Honorable Minister of ICT, Honorable Ministers, Your Excellency, the Governor, brothers and sisters, friends, welcome. My name is Yemi Babington Ashae. My job is to help us deliver on the promise of the conversation for the next 60 minutes. Please just call me Yemi. That's okay. We have a distinguished panel, and I'm actually really happy to say they need no introduction. So for the maybe for the formality of it, His Excellency, the President of the African Development Bank, President Adesina, Tonny Elemmeu, founder of the Tonny Elemmeu Foundation, I think, and a godfather to entrepreneurs across the continent. I think there's so much I can say about him. Vera Songwe, Executive Secretary of the Economic Commission for Africa, or Executive Director, is that correct? And then Diane Karusisi, who's CEO of the Bank of Kigali. For the rest of us, the central bank here. So please give them a warm welcome. I cannot do better than our keynote speakers. I think the imperative is very clear. We all know why we're here. I think the word movement really captures it. And if this is really going to be a movement, then it really depends on us. And I'm happy to share that our distinguished panel agrees that while you are waiting to hear from them, they are waiting to hear from you. Do we have microphones at the ready? I need to see some hands. Who's holding a microphone? Anybody with a microphone? All right, can we get some microphones out to the audience, please? I need to see some microphones, please. All right, please prepare yourselves because we are going to begin with you. So the imperative, if you would like to speak, can I see your hand? Good, the audience is here. All right, let me know when the microphones are ready. The imperative is clear. 1.2 billion Africans, over 200 million between 15 and 24. We need 18 million jobs per year on average. In this conversation with the panel and with you, we're going to explore how feasible is this? What are some of the challenges? And what are the roles of different people? These are some of the things we will touch on. But we'd love to hear from you. What questions do you want answered? To our hosts and hostesses, do you have microphones? Can I see if the microphones are ready? Can I see? I can see one. Microphones ready? Okay. What questions do you want answered? We don't have too much time, so I'm going to need your help. Actually, let me see if people are here. Are my South African brothers and sisters here? Les Africains de l'Ouest, vous êtes ici, les francophones? And our East Africans? Abarigani. Abarigani. Okay. Are you ready to speak? All right. Movements need people. So what questions do you want answered? And I need somebody who's going to help us. We have to be disciplined. We want questions. And I'm going to impose a 15-second rule. Are you ready? When you get the microphone, you have 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, we'll take whatever you've managed to say. Your name, your organization, and your question. Are you ready? Who wants to be the role model? Who's going to show us how to do it in 15 seconds? We have a champion right there. All right, let's go. Your name, your organization, and your question. What do you want to hear?
Thank you so much. I'm called Kiiza Saddam from Uganda, Youth Society for Human Rights, also a Commonwealth correspondent here in Kigali. Youth access. Everyone wants to own a business. Everyone wants to employ someone else.
Yes.
But accessing funds is a big challenge. So how can we have access to
Brilliant.
funds?
Give the man a round of applause, please. All right, we're off to a great start. That was under 15 seconds. Who's next? I need a woman, please. I see a woman right there. Can we get the microphone right there, please? Microphone at the ready. Is that going to a woman? Yeah. All right, thank you.
Vanessa Masilo from South Africa. Internet needs to be accessible to young people because without access to information, nothing can be achieved.
Amazing. That was less than 10 seconds. Please, a round of applause. Thank you. We'll take a few more. Who wants to speak next? As the Spirit moves you, I can feel His Spirit. Let's get the microphone over there. Oh, to the gentleman behind you. We'll come to you late. Just right to the gentleman behind you. He's dying to speak, so let's give him peace. 15 seconds, sir. Your name, organization, your question.
I'm Jean-Patrick Eumon from Côte d'Ivoire, president at Akenewa Tech Hub. I wanted to know if Youth Connekt is going to come to Côte d'Ivoire, and I wanted to help.
All right, I love it. Commitments already. Can we give it to the lady in the red jacket, right there, the lady in the red jacket? Thank you.
Bonjour, je suis de Madagascar, du PNUD. À Madagascar, un jeune sur deux est sous-employé. Quelles seraient les innovations pour toucher les jeunes ruraux qui n'ont pas justement accès à la technologie?
Fantastic. Another round of applause. Thank you. For those, I guess you all have interpretation. So she's from Madagascar. 50% of the youth are unemployed. What are we going to do to give them access? All right. I think we'll take one more before we hear from our distinguished panel. Who's the final say? He's got the mic already. I can't do anything about it.
Thank you very much. My name is Iragua Bandura Eve. Je voudrais que vous donniez les moyens dont on peut prendre l'argent dans des banques, on le donne aux jeunes qui ont fait les projets, mais qui n'ont pas d'argent, parce que les banques contiennent beaucoup d'argent, et vous aussi, vous avez mis votre argent dans des banques. Il faut prendre les banques pour donner aux jeunes.
Right.
L'argent pour donner aux jeunes. Je suis président fondateur de l'Africa Youth Connekt Summit. Merci.
Fantastic, thank you. He was asking how we get money to some of the young people who have ideas but no money. All right, I think we are ready to go. Thank you for that warm-up and for your discipline. We'll keep the discipline going and you will get the mic again. So we had a comment about money, funding. We had a comment about access to internet. We had a comment about young people who have no access to the market. A comment about people with ideas but no money. So, Your Excellency, would you like to kick us off?
Absolutely. Well, first, let me thank the government of Rwanda for organizing this Youth Connect. I can't think of anything more important than to be here. I was with President Kagame yesterday night, and there's absolutely nothing that President Kagame invites me for that I will not show up, because it's one leader that's very focused. He was talking to me yesterday night, still campaigning, and I said, why are you campaigning? Because your work speaks for you. He said, I still have to go out there, and when I'm out there, I still have to listen to people and then figure out the unfinished business. And I think the unfinished business is what, thanks for your excellent remarks today, the unfinished business is what I see here. As president of the African Development Bank, which is your bank, what I see here are not youths. What I see here are lots of talent, great ideas, people with a lot of enthusiasm that need to have a lot of support behind them to make it happen. And I'm delighted we also have several ministers here, in particular ministers of finance. So let me make the case for the young people. If you take a look at your computer, you have what runs it is called the Intel Inside. It's a microprocessor on the inside of it. They're very, very small things. You can't see them, but they make the computer so fast. And that's how young people are in every single economy. They are young, you can't see them, but they are the ones that if you connect them, if you support them, if you spark their creativity and their innovation and their entrepreneurship, you will unleash a massive amount of economic transformation. Just think about the numbers that we've been talking about. If you look at it from the perspective of an economy, if Africa is going to have 840 million people by 2050, it means that if we are able to harness that, we can become the workshop of the world because you have a rapidly aging population in the world. And if Africa invests in its young people, over the next 30 years, Africa's GDP will rise every year by $500 billion a year as you invest in job creation, you invest in health services for young people, and as you spark their entrepreneurship. But think about it in terms of the numbers that you were saying for young people, all the great people that you said about, in terms of per capita income. What does it mean for the economy? The per capita income of Africa would rise by 55% in the next 4 years as we do that. And it will rise by an additional 50% for the next until 2050. So when I talk to Minister of Finance, it is smart for the, if you're investing in young people, it's smart for the economy. It's smart for you today. It's smart for you in the future. The best thing you can do is to unleash this huge potential that Africa has. And so when I became president of the African Development Bank, the first thing that I did was I went to Senegal. I went to the place where they call the Gorée Island. And when I go to that Gorée Island, that's where they go to young people, people, energetic Africans. They put them on slave boats and they ship them out of Africa. I stood there at the door they call the door of no return. And as I looked at it with all the emotions in me, I said to myself, this is where young Africans, young people, were taken out of Africa. So I got back into my car, I started reflecting on it, and I said, but today, you've got thousands and thousands of young Africans on their own volition, not against their volition, on their own volition, are getting into rickety boats, and they are heading off to the Mediterranean, and we're losing thousands of them. As president of the African Development Bank, I do not believe that the future of Africa's young people lies in Europe. I don't believe it lies also at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea. I think that future of young Africans lies in an economy that's growing fast, that's inclusive, that's able to tap into their talent. And that's why at the African Development Bank, when I took over, we launched what's called Jobs for Africa's Youth, which is with a bold target to help African countries to create 25 million jobs in the next 10 years and to impact 50 million people. I can't think of anything more important for the African Development Bank to do than to recognize the changing demographic. We have to become the bank of young people, and that's why I'm here. I can sit with ministers and heads of state, but I can tell you there's no meeting I consider more important than being with the future of Africa right here. Thank you.
Do we agree? Yeah, I can feel the energy. We agree. Thank you so much for your commitment. And the message is clear. Invest in young people. And there's nothing more important right now. Thank you so much. Okay, so that sets us off to a great tone. Let's mix it up a little bit. And I'm going to invite Vera to please share your own opening reflections.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I have a PowerPoint slide. I don't know if we can put it up. Going once.
Do we have the slide? Let's get the slide going. And while we wait for the slide, I said we were going to explore, is this feasible? From the president, I think the message is loud and clear. You believe it is feasible. Okay? I mean, we'll hear from the other speakers. And we're going to come back to him some more. Please put the slide up when we're ready.
So while we're waiting for the slide to come up, I think that we're gathered in this room today to do two things. One, as the UNDP resident regional coordinator said, we need speed and we need scale. Yes. We need it fast and we need it quickly. And I think that there are two things that we can do to get to the 8 million. 8 million is not an insurmountable task for Africa. We can do it. And we're able to do it because if we concentrate on our efforts, and what I wanted to show was a slide of regional corridors in East Africa. 10% of the landmass of East Africa holds 50% of the youth on the continent. 32 million people, 32 million youth live in that 10% radius. Why am I saying this? If we want to accelerate job creation, we know where to go. We know how to focus. 60% of the professionals work in the 10% radius of this. Just to give you a graphic, it goes from Mombasa to Dar es Salaam. And if you think of going in the East Africa corridor, it crosses Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Kigali. It comes through Kigali. We include North and South Kivu. I hope the slide can come up. The reason is, and I will go back to energy, if we can provide energy in this corridor, immediately we increase the number of jobs created every year by 10%. That is the graph, if you can see it clearly. So this is 10% of the landmass, just to go back to East Africa. It's 10% of the landmass of East Africa. And it has 50% of the youth in this square. So what can we do today? One of the big questions that we have with the youth from the private sector, the International Finance Corporation, part of the World Bank Group, is how can we de-risk investment? And what are we looking for when we go out? We look for scale, we look for mass. If we work in this corridor to nourish, to service, and to connect Africa, we can create 10% of the jobs every year. So what we submit to you, as the World Bank Group, as the UN organizations, is we need to concentrate our efforts in this corridor. One, each one of you in this room today has a job, either to feed or nourish Africa, to connect Africa with broadband. Our governments need to do their bit. We need to be able to move from 2G to 3G. We know with M-Pesa, which is a regional and local champion, that 150,000 jobs are created because of broadband technology every year. We can do that. We can do it better. What are we in the financial community doing? We're putting, just last year, $450 million in fintech, venture capital, and startups to make sure that we can provide some of these services to the youth. So we believe, like Africa, like Rwanda, we are energized and we're ready to go. We're ready to join that movement to nourish, connect, and service Africa by targeting those regions that have the vast majority of our populations. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, so you believe it's possible? Yep. And the secret weapon that she's suggesting is focus. So thank you very much. Before I go to our next speaker, I just saw one of my sisters in the audience who reminded me to ask, are our North African brothers and sisters in the house? Anybody from North Africa? Can you make some noise, please? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. And then for those who are not from Africa, but very much from Africa in spirit, are you in the house? Any non-Africans in the house? All right, thank you very much. All right, let us move now to hear from Tonny Elemmeu. Please share some of your opening thoughts on the questions before us.
So, again, I'd like to join Aki and Vera to say a big thank you to President Kagame. He makes us as Africans very, very proud. And I think the opening remarks were very powerful by the Minister of Youth and also by the Assistant Director. He set the stage and tone for today's conversation. The question of job creation in Africa, is it achievable? Yes, it's achievable. Right. But for it to work, we must begin to do things differently. And I like the conversation I'm hearing here that we're not here to talk, but to now begin to take concrete actions that will help to make this happen. I speak from experience. Some decades ago, I was like one of some of us in the audience here, even though we are still 24 years old. And it was me, I, and myself. Today, we have businesses in over 20 African countries, and we employ over 30,000 people directly, and indirectly we have about 50,000 people who work for us. If you multiply this, if you have 10 people like this on the continent, that becomes 500,000. If you add another 100 like this, it becomes 5 million jobs. Add another 1,000, it becomes 50 million jobs. If you add another 10,000, it becomes 500 million jobs. This is possible. But there are things we need to do for this to happen. First, let's look at the agri space. Agri in Africa, we have arable land, more than any other part of the world. But at times we struggle to feed ourselves. Why is this so? And so and agriculture also actually employs a lot of our people. And if we're talking about employment, we need to think of how to fix agriculture. If we fix agriculture to a large extent, we begin to achieve this employment target. So we need to fix agriculture on the continent. We have everything. We have youth today in Africa who freely want to become farmers, but something is holding them back from achieving this. That, to me, should be addressed if we want to be serious about creating employment in Africa in the 21st century. Second point, access to electricity. We can't deal with this issue of unemployment in Africa if we do not improve access to electricity. Is it possible to do this? Yes. We have so much abundance of all the natural ingredients that will help us exploit or improve access to electricity. So we need to fix this. And third point, I don't believe in so many points, but third one is my own life experience, and that's entrepreneurship. That is software. So agriculture, power, entrepreneurship. We need to develop our young ones. We need to assist our young ones. We need to get our young ones to they want to become entrepreneurs, but the environment we have on our continent makes it very difficult for them to succeed. If we therefore are talking about creating 500 million jobs or beyond or more, we need to fix those issues that affect our entrepreneurs. They need access to capital. They need access to markets. They need to be prepared vocationally for the future. And these are all possible. So from our experience, through the work of the Tonny Elemmeu Foundation, I believe, I'm sure some of the entrepreneurs who support will be in the audience here. Is there any Tonny Elemmeu entrepreneur in the audience here?
All right, let's see it.
Some of you.
We see hands all the way up there as well.
Very good. We support these young Africans not with so much money, with $5,000 first capital, and subsequently $5,000 as they progress. It's non-refundable. It's a $10 million commitment every year to support young Africans to create 1,000 jobs in Africa, 1,000 entrepreneurs in Africa. It is 1,000 entrepreneurs succeed and help to create employment as they are beginning to show through their early successes. That will help us to create jobs on our continent. This is the work of our group, but we also have others who can make this happen, even at a bigger scale. So we have the IFC, we have the African Development Bank, we have AFRESIM and other development finance institutions on our continent. A practical and serious step forward in creating employment for Africa will be to identify young Africans who want to succeed and give them a helping hand in a practical way. We have today, when we launched the Tonny Elemmeu Foundation, Vera is on the advisory, on the selection committee. First year, we got from 54 African countries, 20,000 applications.
Wow.
We chose only 1,000.
Wow.
Second year, we got 45,000 applications.
Wow.
We selected just 1,000. Third year, we got 95,000 applications,
wow,
and we're taking just 1,000. What happens to the dash hopes? And so for me, the way we give in Africa in the 21st century must begin to change. We must give from the perspective of making Africans self-reliant, self-dependent, and embracing the dignity of their work. If we are serious about creating jobs in Africa, let us come to the rescue of these young Africans whose hopes and aspirations to become entrepreneurs have been dashed. Then and then can we say that we're truly committed and serious about creating jobs. Is it possible? It's possible. These are things we need to do.
Amazing. Thank you very much. All right, so we have agriculture, access to electricity, entrepreneurship, and don't forget, we must do things differently. Okay, call to action right there. So without further ado, Diane, your opening thoughts and reflections.
Thank you, Yemi. I'll start by saying how happy and excited I am to be part of this movement, because this is truly a movement that is going to transform Africa. So colleagues have talked about everything. We need to do things differently. We need to focus. But let me add something. I think we need commitment, because here, in this movement, we are all partners to transform Africa. So what are we committing? Maybe I'll start by asking if there are bankers in the room. Are there young bankers in the room?
Don't be shy if you're a banker. Please put your hand up. Come on, we cannot have any bankers in the room.
It can't be. It can't be. We have bankers on the panel. We have bankers on the panel. We should have young bankers or aspiring bankers in the room.
Undercover.
Great.
Get ready to take over.
So I think the question has been mentioned 2 times this morning. Access to finance. What we are doing as Bank of Kigali is, we want to support inclusive and smart growth. What we did this year was to launch an initiative, a sort of accelerator program, to nurture young entrepreneurs, give them business support and mentorship, and eventually we want to give them interest-free loans. But this is not the end of it. What we believe is, if we want to remain relevant, to be really a true support of inclusive growth, we need to nurture, and to finance young and smart businesses. So we are here. We want to remain relevant for you, for Africa. We want to put our skin in the game. Of course, not alone. As a banker, I won't commit to give money. I'm financing projects. But again, in partnerships with government, government of Rwanda, for example, has established a business development fund. It's a guarantee fund. with the civil society, with everyone, I think we can all together finance smart businesses that are going to create the jobs of the future. So we are here, Minister, maybe we want to create also a Bankers Connekt sort of summit. So we all gather at your next summit and we all put our skin in the game and say, this is how much we are putting on the table. Again, I want to stress that we are not giving money. I mean, it's not about doing good. It's really about doing business. And we are really, every banker loves money. I won't be shy. Every banker loves money. But we want to make money. We don't want to give out money. So, and all the youth and the energy I see, it's not about, receiving hands out. It's about transforming our economies. So again, Minister, please support us creating Bankers Connekt. So next time we meet here, we put our skin in the game and we say, this is how much we are ready to finance young entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, this movement is going to revolutionize the banking industry, it seems. And we want to support smart businesses and we want to make money. Okay, movements are about people. So people, are you ready?
Well, let's, I think...
Oh, we're not wrapping up. There's still more. Okay.
No, but I think Tony raised a very important point that I wanted to address, which had to do with agriculture. Obviously, as you know, my background in agriculture. You see, the problem we have is that sometimes God has blessed every nation with what it needs to develop. The question is really what you do with it. And sometimes you see gold and you pass gold by because gold looks like dirt. And you can't really see right through that. Yes. What I'm saying by that is agriculture. Africa today holds 65%, as you rightly said, of all the uncultivated arable land left to feed the world by 2050. Let me see by a show of hands how many of you like eating cornflakes for breakfast. Right. The guy who made cornflakes is a guy called Kellogg's, and he became a billionaire. Now, cornflakes is simply maize that is extruded, and then he sells it to you with a little bit of sugar and some vitamins, and he becomes a billionaire. The size of the food and agricultural market in Africa will reach $1 trillion by 2030. Now, the key really, therefore, is how do we get our young people to understand that agriculture is not that kind of a thing you had when you were in school, where you were all punished for doing stuff. Agriculture is a business, and Tony's right. You've got to change the lenses with which you look at agriculture. It's not a way of life. It's not a development activity. It's a business. And if not a business, what is Africa doing importing $35 billion a year of food from somebody else? And so what we've got to do is to get young people. The average age of folks in the agriculture sector is about 60 years old. And so if you don't do something structural about that, in the next 20 years, Africa will have absolutely no farmers left. And when I was Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria, I decided to help to make agriculture cool because it is the coolest business you can find. I remember Tonny Elemmeu and some of my folks used to tell me at the time, what kind of Minister of Agriculture is this? He wears bow ties all the time. But I said, I want you to understand that agriculture is a wealth-creating sector. And that's why at the African Development Bank, we've launched a major effort that is called Enable Program to develop a new generation, a new cadre of young commercial farmers and agribusinesses for Africa.
Did I miss the joke?
You see, there are lots of jobs to be made on the farm side, storage side, processing side, transport side, marketing side, all across the value chain, big amount of businesses to be developed. And so last year, the African Development Bank invested $800 million in that program in 7 countries. This year, including Rwanda, we're going to do in 15 countries. We're going to invest more money in 15 countries. And let me give you 2 examples of what can happen. There was a lady called Hawa Bello. She walked to my office when I was the Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria. Tony said he gives you were talking about 5 million. We had a grant. We gave her 5 million naira grant. I gave her a check of 5 million naira. And she was doing leather, making small bags and stuff like that. Fast forward 2 years, Hawa Bello was invited by the London Fashion Week to come and showcase her bags.
Wow.
Last year, CNN featured Hawa Bello's bags.
Wow.
This year, the New York Fashion Show invited her. Her bags were sitting next to Gucci and all the others.
Wow.
So that's what I see. That's what we're talking about here. We've got to support our young people for their ideas to thrive. Let me address the issue of finance because I'm president of the bank. Look, if you're a young person, you walk into a bank today, you're seen as a risk. You're seen as a problem. You're seen as somebody that's going to default. They don't see your ideas, they just see you as a problem. No, what we've got to do is set up financing vehicles that actually allows the banks to direct their lending to young people at scale. Because that was exactly how somebody didn't see the potential in Bill Gates when he developed his Microsoft program. Yeah. They told him, bad idea. Well, how wrong could they be? There are so many ideas right here in this place today. So what we've got to do is to put a good financing vehicle around it. Fantastic. At the African Development Bank, we've set up a new vehicle with the European Investment Bank that's called Boost Africa. It's $200 million that's going to invest in early businesses of young people to support them with risk capital. The second thing is to support small and medium-sized enterprises because majority of the young people you find here, almost 80% of them, are in SME, small and medium-sized enterprises, and they need access to financing to be able to do that. And I think that the critical thing that we've got to do is, I agree with the central bank governor of Rwanda, is to set up risk-sharing facilities that allows all banks to be able to lend at scale to support businesses of young people. Look, we've got to, if we don't have confidence in our young people, who's going to have confidence in them? Exactly. And so that's why I really think it's something we've got to take very, very seriously. The young people don't need, I agree, they don't need handouts. They just need support.
Okay.
Behind their ideas. And I want to assure you that the African Development Bank is doing that. We will do more of that. I want to applaud Tonny Elemmeu's work on entrepreneurship that he's just doing. We will help to scale up that work because I think entrepreneurship is the key. If you have more people like him, like others, just imagine what Africa will look like. So all I just want to say is that let's believe in our young people. Let's support their ideas. Let's stimulate their entrepreneurship. And let's put up a financing system that allows them to take those ideas, put them to scale, and let them work. And I want to make sure that I don't leave here without making sure that you all understand that the future millionaires and billionaires of Africa are not going to be from the oil and gas industry. They are going to be from the agriculture sector. So get it.
All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you. All right. The energy, I'm feeling the energy here. So we're going to stay here for a bit. The mic will come to you. Thank you so much. I'm going to come to you, Tony. I want us to answer some of the questions arising. So you really, Your Excellency, you've taken us on the path of agriculture is cool. Also, a very concrete suggestion to de-risk lending. So to the question about how do we get money to people with ideas but no money. So de-risk that lending at scale. But crucially, you also said there's some sectors neglected. So I'd like to come to the panel. I want to kick off maybe with Vera first. Tony, I'll come to you after. But what are some of the other sectors that are typically neglected? So no need to mention oil and gas. But what are some of the other sectors that we should be looking at?
Thank you. I think most of the time when we sit, we try to pick winners. My sense is every one of you in this room today is a winner with an incredible and fantastic idea. I take an example, pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals, okay.
$800 billion of imports of pharmaceutical goods onto the continent. When we talk about agriculture, it's a conversion into pharmaceuticals. I'm sure that most of you are thinking of ideas. Why can't we cure malaria? What can we do about finding a vaccine for the different viruses that plague the continent today? We spend a lot more money on that. So that's a neglected sector. If you want to talk about neglected sectors, that's just one.
Thank you.
So every idea is a fantastic one once we can translate it.
Fantastic. Thank you. Let's hear a round of applause, please. Thank you. I'll come back to you. I'll go to Diane next. Tony, you're after Diane. So, other thoughts on
Thank you, Yemi. I think when you look at Africa, problems are everywhere. And I like to say that the mother of opportunity is a problem, is a challenge. So what we need to do is to transform these problems into opportunities. And across all sectors, you can talk of health, education, trade. Across all those problems, we can create opportunities. And we don't need to wait from other people to come and tell you how to solve our problems. We can do it ourselves, and we can do it smartly, because today we have technology. We can, develop smart trade. We can develop smart health. We can develop smart education, everything, you name it. Fantastic. So let's be the generation that is solving all those problems.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, Tony, you get the floor.
I think we're here to come up with concrete, practical steps towards commencing this journey of creating jobs for our people. And I want to commend President Adesina for the commitment he made here. Yes. And I hope entrepreneurs that you heard very well. And I will restate what he said, and we need to clap for him, and we'll take that as an action point that we need to implement. He says ADB has done a lot already, and they will continue to do more to support and capacitize young African entrepreneurs. 2, those who have great ideas, just like Bill Gates had ideas before. ADB will put in place schemes and support existing platforms like the Tonny Elemmeu Foundation to make sure you have the capital to prove your ideas. This is very, very important, because before you get to the SMEs, you have people who just have nothing but ideas. And we must make sure that these ideas don't die with these people. Brilliant. We must make sure that we translate and transform those ideas to even SMEs and future big conglomerates. And that is a commitment the President of ADB has made. And I would like us entrepreneurs here, if it resonates with you, let's give him a hand. Absolutely. Thank you, Tony. And let me, one more appeal through the President. I said recently that it is good for the development finance institutions to worry about rating. In finance, you talk about credit rating and co. But for Africa, where we are today, we need to fast-track the development of our continent. We understand African risk, and again, when the President says we need to see how to de-risk concepts, ideas, and businesses, we need that in Africa at this point in time. So I believe the President of African Development Bank has all the support he needs. But since we have here regionals, and we might also have the non-regionals who are listening on this program, we all look up to the African Development Bank to help us catalyze the development of Africa, the creation of jobs in Africa, and we think we have a president that is futuristic, forward-thinking, has all the great ideas, and a can-do man based on what he did in Nigeria. We need support for him to make this happen so that we can support the young Africans who have great ideas and want to succeed in business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Our best friends in the house have told us we have to wrap up. Let's not boo them. Okay, so we do have to wrap up. But to bring us to a close, because I will come back to the panel to share with us closing thoughts, we have to be very disciplined now, because we have to bring this to a close. I want to pick up the mantle of the movement. And I want to ask everybody, I would have loved to come back to you at least a couple more times, but I don't have that time. So I want us to all be quiet for 30 seconds. And what I'm going to ask everyone to do is to reflect on what we've heard. Please reflect on everything we've heard. We've talked about, is it possible? So far it sounds like yes. We've talked about some of the challenges we need to address. Some of those challenges came from the audience, some came from the panel. We've talked a little bit about the different roles people can play, and more importantly, how people can play those roles differently. Now, I want us to reflect for 30 seconds. Can you think of any commitment that you can make? A commitment you can make to do something differently or to do more of something you're doing. 30 seconds starts now. Just please, with yourself. And then you can please prepare your closing remarks. We'll have 60 seconds each, please. All right, I want to feel your spirit. I hope you're reflecting. Don't let me interrupt your thoughts. So we just keep quiet now. Testing, 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 testing. Can I get some love here, please? Testing, testing. Thank you. All right, the people with microphones. Thank you. Any microphones there? Any microphones in the upper gallery? All right, we have to be very disciplined. We have 15 seconds each. If you are willing to share your commitment, you don't have to. Please put your hand up. Are you willing to share your commitment? Movements need you. This one needs you. All right, let's get a microphone. Can I see microphones? Let's start with the lady this time. Right there, please. 15 seconds. Your commitment, please. Your name and your commitment.
It's not working. Hi, everyone. My name is Hawa. I'm from Mali. And my commitment is to build toilets in every school in Mali and elsewhere in Africa, because I think for education for all, we need access to sanitation and waters everywhere in Africa.
Thank you so much, Awa. Thank you. All right. Thank you for sharing your commitment. As the Spirit moves you, can we get a microphone right here? Please share your commitment. Like Hawa, very concise. 15 seconds. Let's go. Your 15 seconds starts now. 15 seconds.
My name is Ngunzizo Maurice. I am CEO of founder of Affect Marketing Limited.
Your commitment?
Is to help young generation how to create jobs through internet business, create business.
Okay.
I have a DVD called Affect.
You've got a what? Yes, you have a DVD.
Yes. It's DVD.
Yes.
It has some skills helping people how they can create their own jobs.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that commitment. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a few more. Is there a microphone in this zone? We have at the back. All right, let's go. Your name, your commitment, please.
Thank you. My name is John Karanja from Meetup Africa. We're based in Kenya.
That's good. Your commitment?
Yes, my commitment is to drive the adoption of blockchain and Bitcoin technology across Africa.
All right. Thank you.
Hopefully turn Rwanda into a hub for this technology.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Because everywhere I've gone to across the continent, I've seen it's the key technology that can change lives for people, because it's based on mobile technology, which a lot of young people have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Asante.
Please give the microphone to the gentleman behind you. Behind you. All right, let's go, sir. 15 seconds. Your commitment. Your name, your commitment. Please.
Monsieur Kassai, de la RDC.
Oui.
Monsieur Tonny a été en France, a eu de grandes réunions avec la MEDEF.
Oui.
Nous voulons une adresse précise pour que nous puissions connecter les résultats de cette conférence avec Youth Connekt RDC. Merci.
Okay. I think he wants to hear from you to know something specific to connect this meeting. Or did he make a commitment? No, I think he was asking a question. He wanted to hear from you.
Sorry, I think Ansandi said about promise that was made. Can you explain what the promise is at MEDEF? What promise, please? Sorry.
No, I think he wants to hear how you're going to connect this to Youth Connekt in RDC, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Une réunion avec le MEDEF France.
Oui.
MEDEF France.
Oui.
Monsieur Tonny était en France dans une grande réunion avec MEDEF.
Oui.
Voilà, et nous voulons une adresse précise. Une adresse précise pour connecter Youth Connekt RDC à cette initiative. Cette grande réunion, nous savons.
Okay. All right, thank you. Maybe he'll take that one offline. Thank you. Is anybody dying to share a commitment? I'll take two more and we have to stop. All right, if you're dying, let me show us you're dying to share your commitment. I don't see anybody dying, though. All right, he looks like he's dying. Get this man the microphone. Get this man the microphone. Can we get this man the microphone, please? Get him a microphone. We're running out of time. A lady will get the last microphone. All right, the last word goes to a woman, but after him, please. All right, let's go. Let's hear your commitment, sir. 15 seconds.
Hello, hi. My name is Tonny Elemmeu. I'm from Ghana. I run Africa Internship Academy. That is the Youth Employment Accelerator.
Great.
My commitment is we are celebrating 50,000 young Ghanaians in the next 3 months in Ghana. That is through capacity building workshops,
Awesome.
digital skills in Ghana. So that is my commitment.
Thank you.
And also, I am going into Agreg, so I'll start Agreg very soon.
All right, let's go. That's a new commitment right there. All right, ladies in the house, who wants the last word? I said ladies in the house, so men can sit down. I'm in trouble here. What is in front of you? Who is dying to speak?
Kristen.
I'm going over there.
Kristen.
I'm going over there.
Kristen.
I think she gets the microphone. I'm so sorry. All right, you fought for your chance to speak. Give us your name and your commitment, please.
Hi, my name is Mara Jane Michelo from Zambia, and my commitment is to set up an ICT hub in every province of my country to bring 100 young people to the Youth Connekt next year, and to launch some of the innovations that some of the young people from Zambia are over there. One of them has had a challenge to launch his innovation because he doesn't have all the equipment. So tomorrow I'm taking him to Fab Lab because they have the table that he needs to be able to complete his project.
Wow.
And those are the solutions that we need.
Wow! Let's hear it! Thank you. Thank you so much. Out of respect, our North African brothers here would like to say a word. So one of you, who wants to speak? Is this from North Africa?
Thank you. I'm Alex Saliho. I'm the CEO of the African Agribusiness Incubator Network.
Okay.
And I want to pledge that the African Agribusiness Incubator Network will continue to work with the African Development Bank and the Enable Youth Program and other development partners, particularly the governments, to establish the agribusiness incubators. His Excellency, you talked about the next billionaires coming from agribusiness. But the very billionaires need to be mentored, need to be handheld through mentoring and coaching. And that's why, together with the bank and African Union, we've been talking about establishment of incubators. It is important that we nurture the youth, and we'll continue to do that across the 54 African countries.
Brilliant. Agriculture continues to be cool. Thank you. All right, one word here.
So my name is Mr. Galal. I'm an African citizen that happened to be born in Egypt, and I'm working for IBDL Foundation.
Commitment.
The commitment is we are giving out 1,000 scholarship of executive education for SMEs.
Wow.
And we are ready to increase them if our distinguished panel have a setup that wants to start here.
All right, I love that commitment. Look, how do we find you? What's it called?
1,000 scholarship for 21 countries.
How do we find you?
Well, it's easy. I have my business cards.
Okay, we'll find him afterwards.
IBDL Foundation.
Thank you very much.
IBDL Foundation.
All right. I think we're ready to come to our panel to bring us to a distinguished close. I think you can feel the energy, right? Yeah. We're not speaking in an echo chamber here. Everybody is on board. So who would like to go first? Maybe we start with the ladies. Diane?
Yeah, I think I'll also commit to leverage every platform, every opportunity as a banker, young banker, as a young leader, to push forward this movement. And of course, as a banker, to promote access to finance for young entrepreneurs.
All right. Concrete. Thank you so much. There?
Yes. First of all, I want to start by thanking the government of Rwanda, President Kagame, and all the ministers here, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Youth, and everybody, for this amazing forum. I think that this is where it starts. It starts with demonstration. It starts with proof of concept. What we have here is clearly a theory and a platform that works, and that movement can go forward. 3 things I want to commit to. The first thing is to connect more women. I think we need more and more women. We know that when you connect one woman, we know in the banking space, and we've talked a lot about risk, we know that the women are less risky. We know that it's easier, it's faster, and it's profitable to bet on women. So we will continue to bet on you, and we'll bet more. The second thing I want to say is commend our governments for doing well in doing business. African countries over the last 5 years have been consistently doing well in doing business, but they can do more. And one big part of doing more is e-government. So I go back to digital financial services. I go back to an e-connect economy. We need to connect ourselves, and our governments need to help us do that. And finally, the private sector, where I come from every day. We need to be able to find and blend the resources. On our continent today, we have about $355 million in pension funds that we can use to leverage to be able to support and fund the brilliant ideas of young youth, women and men on the continent. And I think that one of the things that I will commit to, I think together with the African Development Bank here and the World Bank Group, is to see how we can leverage African resources to ensure that African ideas see the day of light.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Concrete commitments. All right. Tony.
So for me, is as I said before, 3 years running now, we've had dash hopes. First year, 20,000, only 1,000 chosen. Second year, 45,000, only 1,000 chosen. Third year, 95,000, only 1,000 chosen. So we have approximately about 150,000 young Africans who want to improve their lives and who want to become employers of labor that have not had the opportunity to actualize this. The challenge for all of us is, how do we bring hope to these young Africans? And I would like to call on successful African business leaders, development finance institutions operating in Africa, donor agencies, that we should please support the realization of the dreams of these young Africans so that collectively we can all begin to fix the unemployment challenges we have as a continent. That is my call.
Brilliant. Thank you. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that just about 2 months ago, I received a group of young people at the African Development Bank. And I was so excited about that. We got our boards involved because, as I said, I want the bank to be a bank that supports the demographic, takes an account of the demographic shifts that we see and is able to take it and turn it into real dividends for the continent. So as I listen to all the energy and the ideas and things that have been shared here, I make a commitment to you that the African Development Bank will host and support the Youth Connekt for next year at a big scale.
Wow. Wow.
We will get involved. I'm glad all the ministers are here. But we'll get the ministers of finance involved. I say Minister Gatete is here because it's all about how we actually get them to finance a lot of these things. So that's one commitment. The second thing is I want to follow up what my sister Vera Songwe said about women. If you look at birds, birds always fly with 2 wings. I've never seen any bird that flies with 1 wing. Africa will go faster when it achieves equality for its women. And that's why it's a no-brainer at all to lend to women. No-brainer at all. 98% of women pay back on their loans, right? But yet we don't have banks that are lending to them. And that's why the African Development Bank has launched what's called the Affirmative Finance Action for Women. That program is intended to help to leverage $3 billion specifically for businesses of women, because I can tell you that when women succeed, the economy succeeds faster. Yesterday, I spoke with President Kagame about this, with Minister Gatete, and I was so delighted that President Kagame decided that he will be a champion for the affirmative finance action for women in Africa, where we are going to mobilize $3 billion. And my sister, Vera Songwe, and I have been working on this for quite some time when she's at IFC, and now she's going to the Economic Commission for Africa. That's a must happen, and it's something that we have committed ourselves to. And the last thing I want to say is that it's great to see everybody, but you all want to see action. You don't need more talk. Talk is good, but action is better. And so, just to keep in mind, I don't know how many of you know the song by John Legend. He said, "We are the generation." If you're a woman, you are out there. If you're a man, you are out there. You're hearing me. The future we are talking about was yesterday, and we are already late. So for the young people that are here, governments have to accelerate action because they want it now, because the future they are talking about, the future should not always be in the future. That future, we have to discount it and bring it to now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, distinguished panel. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. This has been a fantastic conversation. I don't think I should summarize the points because I think each of you has done a great job. I just want to remind us that, as the minister said, we are united beyond our borders. As the Honorable Abdoulaye Dié said, this is not a meeting, this is a movement. And even if you didn't speak, over the next 2 days, we will have the chance to interrogate the questions, to explore the challenges, to think of how we can do things differently, and to make commitments, even if they are personal. So no new resolution to be signed. This is a personal resolution to turn this energy into action. Are you ready? Let's make these 2 days really special. All right. I want to say thank you. I'm here because of His Excellency President Kagame. The people who invited me know this. I put it in writing. Anything he invites me to, I will show up. And so my commitment is to continue to support and to extend my support beyond His Excellency, specifically to the Youth Connekt movement. Let's see what we can do together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Yemi, and your distinguished panel. Definitely. Let's give them another round of applause as they leave the set. Thank you. Right. Very beautiful commitments, very good energy. And for me, while I was seated right there, I was just telling myself, from the points that we've had here, it will be very sad that if we leave this room today or if we go back to our homes, if you live here without a proper plan to change or improve the environment for young people to thrive, then there's a problem. If we live here and we still continue working in the same old way, then there's a problem. If we'll still be seeing agriculture as uncool, then definitely there's a problem. So as we take the photo up, I would like to announce that the first 2 rows, our extinguished guests. All right. Yes. So the first 2 rows would join us for a photo opportunity. The rest, don't worry. You can take a selfie from where you are. You can be able to still capture them in your photo. Right, so the first 2 rows, please join us for the photo op. And as the photo op is going on, I'd like to make this very important announcement. Please note that we are now going for the breakout sessions. Kindly note the following information, if you can. If you're interested in the Youth Driving SDGs breakout session, it is taking place at room MH1. It's taking place at room MH1, and the lead here is UNDP. Please report to that room. For those who are going for the session on access to finance, where is the money? This is the title of that session. It's taking place at MH2. The lead here is the World Economic Forum. Connected Girls Implementing Smart Women and Girls Declaration. This is taking place at MH3, and the lead is Girl Effect. There's another great exhibition going on, and it's on Job Connect exhibition. This one is taking place at Foyer A. The lead is Akazikanoze. Hackfest is also taking place at Mezzanine, and the lead here is K-Lab and ICT Chamber. The ushers are available to help you in case you need some more clarification on the breakout sessions. We will meet again after lunch at 2:30. There'll be another breakout session, which is on harnessing youth potential through health. This one is taking place at MH1. I'd like you to pay maximum attention to this, please. And Enterprise Hub will be taking place at MH2, while the Youth Converse will be taking place at MH3. We'll meet at 3:30 right here at the plenary for a very great conversation which will be moderated by Zain Varji. And the theme is demographic dividends. Are we ready to win? That's the question that we'll be having here at 3:30 p.m. So I want to wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, we'll see you at that particular right time. Thank you so much. What do you want? Okay, we have the ushers. They tell them to block them from taking. You want to take another one? Do I pretend that I'm talking? Okay. So, how do I get it? Why? Thank you so much. Thank you, my friend. Yes, I'm hoping we'll interact more. Yes. Yes, sir. More afternoon. It's almost afternoon right now.
I want something like this.
On the website. This one I can't give you. I need it. No, but it's just on your phone.
Can I request a favor? Can you take us?
Yes, why not? Let me do that. Where?
South Africa team.
Okay.
Than you, and you are not me. The lengths that I would go to, the distance in your eyes. Oh no, I said too much. I said it all. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion, trying to keep up with you, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I said too much, haven't said enough. Thought that I heard you laughing, that I heard you sing. Think I thought I saw you try. Every whisper, every waking hour, choosing my confessions and trying to keep an eye on you, like a hurt, lost and blinded fool. Oh no, I've said too much. I said it all. Consider this, the hint of the century. Consider this, the slip that brought me to my knees has failed. What if all these fantasies flailing around, and now I have said too much. Thought that I